Alright, here is what the inside of your regulator is going to look like. From the top, there is this kind of top hat piece. It can be very difficult to remove this piece from the top of this. You may have to get strap wrenches or put this part in a vise with soft jaws or something. They can be really hard to remove, so if you put it back, do not tighten it all the way. Like, just hand tight's fine. It'll seal because there is an O-ring here. Next from the top will be this piston with these. It's a Belleville washer stack, so they act like a spring. You just want to make sure that these are alternating. Because if you look, they're slightly curved, and you just want the curves to alternate on there. In terms of your particular leak, this O-ring here can be a culprit. If air gets past here, it can come out of that relief hole. Going through on the inside of this, on this side, you can kind of see that there's a little groove at the bottom there. That's where this little O-ring sits, and it is 008 O-ring, and it is kept in place by this little brass hat. This brass hat will fit this back will go against the O-ring, and there'll be this spring that is meant to sit like this on top of there. So this little 008 here, let me get this back out. Could also be why you're venting out the side hole. It's either the piston O-ring, this O-ring. Less likely would be there is a seal here, a regulator seat. You want to make sure that there's no chunks or anything. If it's still looking good and it's still fairly hard. Like if you can easily leave marks with your fingernails, then it's probably that regulator seat is probably bad. But that would lead more to over pressurizing or regulator creep. Less likely than this leak here, because air would still have to be getting past this O-ring or that O-ring on there. And that's it. That's the inside of your regulator. To kind of put it back together here, well, you want to put you can kind of see how those are sitting there, maybe if it focuses. And you just want to slide this back in here. I like to use a pick or something to kind of be able to get that to seat through, and it goes through into here. Now the next trick can be to get the little 008 O-ring here back on here. There we go. And then I can use this to get it all lined up here. Put the spring in here, and maybe I can get this pushed back. Here, let me grab a Allen wrench, something to push on it with. There we go. See, I don't know if you can see in there. like that. Then the regulator with the adjustment screw. Now for me, when I took this apart, I counted the turns from all the way in. And for me, 1 1/4 turns is roughly 220, 225 psi, which is what my Trilogy was running at. So here I go, there's half, there's 1 1/4. There's that. Then it's just putting these back. And when you put these back, since this is already, I didn't re-grease the O-rings. I should have showed you how to do that, but you want to grease the piston O-ring that sits in here. You want to grease the inner bore of this piece where that piston goes up and down. You want to grease that. You want to grease the shaft of that piston that goes into here, because that will also grease the little 008 O-ring in here. And that's basically it. And you just put it back together, and that switching out those two O-rings should fix your leak.